ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। शुक्लांबरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। नारायणं पद्मभुवं वसिष्ठं शक्तिं च तत्पुत्रपराशरं च व्यासं शुकं गौडपदं महान्तं गोविन्दयोगीन्द्रं अथास्य शिष्यं श्रीशङ्कराचार्यम् अत अस्य पद्मपादं च हस्तामलकं च शिष्यं तं तोटकं वार्तिककारम् अन्यान् अस्मद्गुरून् सन्ततम् आनतोऽस्मि। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। अतः श्रीमद्भगवद्गीता ध्यान श्लोकाः। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी। नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे पुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः ज्वालितो ज्ञानमय प्रदीप। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्र रुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः। ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः। देवाय तस्मै नमः। देवाय तस्मै नमः। Let's go to the third chapter, verse 3. We will chant from 3 to 10. 11th we have to learn today. We have completed the discussion on the 11th. We will continue from 3 to 10 in chanting. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Lokesmin Dvividha Nishta Pura Prokta Maya Nagha Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam Karma Yogena Yoginam Na karmanāmanārambhāt naishkarmyam purushośnute na ca sanyasanādeva siddhim samadhigacchati nahi kaschit kshanamapi jātu tishtatya karma krita kāryate havasah karma वह प्रकृति जैर्गुणैः कर्मेन्द्रियाणि संयम्य य आस्ते मनसा स्मरन् इन्द्रियार्थान् विमूढात्मा मिथ्याचारः उच्यते। यस्त्विन्द्रियाणि मनसा नियम्यारभतेऽर्जुन कर्मेन्द्रियैः कर्मयोगम् असक्तः स विशिष्यते। नियतं कुरु कर्म त्वं कर्मज्यायो ह्यकर्मणः शरीरयात्रापि च ते न प्रसिद्ध्येद कर्मणः यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणोऽन्यत्र लोकोऽयं कर्म बन्धनः तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय मुक्तसङ्गः समाचर सह यज्ञाः प्रजा सृष्ट्वा पुरोवाच प्रजापतिः अनेन प्रसविष्यध्वम् येषवोऽस्त्विष्टकामधुक्. So, in the last class, we discussed about yajna mostly, that niyatam kuru karmatvam, Arjuna, Krishna instructs Arjuna, you have to engage in the prescribed karma to you, because not akarmana is engaging in action is better than not engaging in action. And without engaging in action, even you cannot maintain your body. Body maintenance becomes an issue if you don't engage in action. And when you engage in action, how should you engage in action? Yajnarthat. If you engage your activities in the spirit of the yajna, then it will not bind you. Any action that you do for yourself is going to be binding in the sense that you have to reap the benefits, you have to enjoy the benefits, good or bad, of that karma. And more often than not, you need to take another life to engage those karma. So that is what is binding means. The fruit and the karma and the fruit have an unbinding, it has a relationship that cannot be separated. So if you engage in the spirit of yajna, then that will not compel you to enjoy that benefit of it. Or even if that is, when it says there is some phala, all right, but this phala has this fruit of action, you don't have to take a birth just for that. It may show up in some other way. So, tadartam karma kaunteya. Therefore, Arjuna, you do all actions in that spirit of yajna. And if you do in that spirit of yajna, mukta sangaha, you are freed of the attachment to that karma. That is the binding nature of that karma. You are freed of that. Now, Krishna says, this yajna that I am talking is not something new. I am talking to you. I am instructing you. This has been in existence ever since the creation. Saha yajnaha prajaha srishtva purovacha prajapatihi. Prajapati Brahma, even as he created this universe, along with that, he created this yajna living in the spirit of yajna. He created. And who are the participants in the yajna? Human beings and the gods, the celestials. So, if you the method of this yajna is you please those devas, and they will in return please you. They will give you what you need. That is, if you do yajna, then the yajna will reach them, the offerings in the yajna will reach them, and they will give your desires through rain. They offer the rain, and with the rain, you got all the vegetation and all these things are available to you. You have the food. So there are two things here. One is this practice has been there, and even before Prajapati Brahma created this universe, he made sure that there is plenty of food for everybody. That the food chain has been established. He did not, create a universe and said to everybody, you go and find your own way of living. No, he established a way of living. And that is what this Sahayajnaha Prajaha Srishtva indicates, that and in creating the universe, he created an order, how we should live, and what is the objective of living, of every birth, is to get moksha. The objective is to get relief from the cycle of birth and death. And in order to get that relief of birth and death, you have to live in a certain way. And the introduction to that certain way is yajna. This is where we stopped. And then in the last class, we discussed this Devan Bhavayatanena, Te Deva Bhavayantuvaha, Parasparam Bhavayantaha, Shreyaha Paramavapsyata. So, like this, you nurture the Devas, the celestials, and in return, they will nurture you, they will nourish you. And when by this mutual nurturing each other, Parasparam Bhavayantaha, you help each other. Shreyaha Paramavapsyata, you are going to achieve maximum benefit. That is the maximum benefit, Param Shreya, that is the supreme goal. Over a period of time, you will develop a lifestyle and you will develop your, a step for yourself to go up to the level of moksha. That's why we discussed last class. Let us learn this verse today and move forward. Devan bhavayata anina.
Devan bhavayata anina.
Please. Oh, did I not share? Okay, sorry. All right, I will share this once again. I thought I shared, but let me share this once. It is shared, Uma.
Not yet. Not yet.
Not yet?
It doesn't come.
Not yet.
Okay, all right. Let me share it. 1 second. Share. Content.
Yep.
Okay, sorry about that.
Devan bhavayata anena. Devan bhavayata anena.
Te deva bhavayantu vaha.
Te deva bhavayantu vaha. Te deva bhavayantu vaha. Te deva bhavayantu vaha.
Devan bhavayatanina. Te deva bhavayantu vaha.
Devan bhavayatanena. Te deva bhavayantu vaha. Devan bhavayatanena. Te deva bhavayantu vaha. Devan bhavayatanena. Te deva bhavayantu vaha.
Parasparam bhavayantaha.
Parasparam bhavayantaha. Parasparam bhavayantaha.
Shreyaha paramavapsyatha.
Shreyaha param avapsyatha. Shreyaha param avapsyatha.
Parasparam bhavayantaha. Shreyaha paramavapsyatha.
Parasparam bhavayantaha. Shreya paramavapsyatha. Parasparam bhavayantaha. Shreya paramavapsyatha. Parasparam bhavayantaha. Shreya paramavapsyatha.
Devan bhavayatanina. Te deva bhavayantu vaha. Parasparam bhavayantaha. श्रेयः परमवाप्स्यथ
देवान् भावयतानेन ते देवा भावयन्तु वः परस्परं भावयन्तः श्रेयः परमवाप्स्यथ देवान् भावयतानेन ये देवा भावयन्तु वः परस्परं भावयन्तः श्रेयः परमवाप्स्यथ देवान् भावयतानेन ते देवा भावयन्तु वः परस्परं भावयन्तः श्रेयः परमवाप्स्यथ
9, 10 and 11. यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणोऽन्यत्र लोकोऽयं कर्म बन्धनः तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय मुक्तसङ्गः समाचर स यज्ञाः प्रजा सृष्ट्वा पुरोवाच प्रजापतिः अनेन प्रसविष्यध्वम् एष वोस्त्विष्ठकामधुक् देवान् भावयतानेन देवा भावयन्तु वः परस्परं भावयन्तः श्रेयः परमवाप्स्यथ इष्टान् भोगान् हि वो देवाः दास्यन्ते यज्ञभाविताः तैर्दत्तान प्रदायैभ्यो यो भुङ्क्तेस्तेन एव सः So, yajna bhavitaha devaha. These gods, they are pleased through the yajnas. Once they are pleased, ishtan bhoganhi vaha dasyante. They will give you desires that you please. They will give you desired pleasures. Yaha bhunkte taihi dattan ebhyaha apradayaha. One who self-feeds, who feeds on the pleasures given by them without giving them back, apradayaha, without giving them back what they have given, saha stena eva, he is indeed a thief. So Krishna here is describing, if you fail to follow this order that has been established by the Prajapati, then you risk being a thief. Now, so in summary, pleased by the sacrifices, the gods will favor you with your coveted desires. Whatever in our living, we have various kinds of desires. So they will help us derive those pleasures. He is indeed a thief who enjoys what has been given, without offering them back to them. Now a question comes here. If we are not giving, still we are enjoying certain, we are not doing yajna, and we are not offering it to the gods on a regular basis. How is it that we are still surviving, we are living? See, the understanding is there is always a lag. Our parents and grandparents have done enough of the yajnas that it will continue for some time. Now, in Bhagavata, it is said that as we move in Kali Yuga, there is going to be less and less of pleasures, we suffer more. And probably we can relate to this verse here. Bhagavata says, your life expectancy itself will come down to 9-10 years. very if teenage, everybody, that is their life expectancy. That's what, by the time Kali Yuga ends, we are talking another 400,000 years. By the time Kali Yuga ends, life would be so miserable. And is maybe, that is because probably we will be seeing less and less of Yajna Bhava, the spirit of Yajna in people. And we'll see more of it here in the discussion. So in nurturing this relationship with the celestials, with the gods, so how do you do that? Through the observation of these yajnas. He says they will bless you with the desires like what? Spouse, children, and cattle. See, the spouse, similarly, as I am growing, somewhere else, our spouse is also growing somewhere else, and that availability of that spouse depends on the offerings by the celestials, and then we get our children, we get cattle. Cattle means the cattle was the order of wealth in those days. We can say in today's world we'll get vehicles and homes and all those things. So all these positions that we have that come to us through the observation of these yajna. So he uses, the one who uses these riches that he derives from the system. System means the earth itself is the system. So one who uses all the riches for selfish ends, for himself, he doesn't share with anybody. He does not do yajna. Krishna says he is a thief. In what way? He is denying the celestials of their share. They have been participants in this mutual relationship between humans and celestials, and they have kept up their end of the bargain. And if we don't keep up our end of the bargain, we are denying them, and therefore we become thief. That's the punchline he uses. So, in discharging his duties, the human being's duties, the gods being pleased will return favor in nurturing earth, plants, animals, and other minerals used by mankind for their living. So the present state of the earth is such that it has all these various minerals and ability to grow plants and all those things. That did not happen just by itself. There is what is to be understood here is there is a higher force that has maintained these things for us to start enjoying, and this we will have to return back to keep the society moving in a revolution. It keeps on moving in a cycle. So having received those favors, mankind has to share it with other people. And if we don't share, then we downgrade ourselves to be called a thief. So here there's a warning from Brahma that Krishna is narrating to Arjuna. Brahma warns both humans and celestials are the players in this game of yajna, in this system of yajna. Both have to keep up their end of the bargain. Humans have to offer the yajna offerings to the celestials, and the celestials will in turn return the favor by giving rain and all the benefits. See, the celestials did not also come by accident. Celestials, you can say, is the Indra, Varuna, Yama, all these, the Kubera, etc. They are part of the administration of the universe. They have certain prescribed portfolios, even sun for that matter. So these have certain portfolios, and in their portfolio they have it's just like talking about a vice president and of a company. In today's world you have vice presidents described by the area that they cover or by the responsibilities they have and things like that. Vice President Manufacturing, Vice President Finance, like that we have. So these are positions like that, Indra Varna, Vayu, etc. So they have to fulfill an obligation. Now, if Indra is considered the presiding deity of rain, now if Indra has to discharge it correctly and distribute it towards the entire earth, he needs the help of Vayu. Vayu is the one that blows the wind, and sun is the one that absorbs the water from the ocean and recycles it to the earth, like this. So there is a definite system, and that system will be broken by humans behaving without the concept or the spirit of a yajna. So theft happens in this case. Theft means the future generations are denied the benefits of what we are enjoying, and to that extent that becomes a theft. That what I am enjoying, I am not able to provide it for the next generations. I told you earlier that there is a lag relationship in this, and therefore we have to make sure that not what has been provided to us by our parents and grandparents, we pass it on to the next generations coming. That's a general description of this verse. Ishtan bhogan yudevaha dasyante yajna bhavitaha tairdattana pradhayebhyo yo bhukte istena evasaha. Let's learn this. Ishtan bhogan hi vaha devaha.
Ishtan bhogan hi vaha devaha. Ishtan bhogan hi vaha devaha.
Dasyante yajna bhavitaha.
Dasyante yajna bhavitaha.
Ishtan bhogan hi vo devaha. Dasyante yajna bhavitaha.
Ishtan bhogan hi vo devaha. Dasyante yajna bhavitaha. Ishtan bhogan hi vo devaha. Dasyante yajna bhavitaha. Ishtan bhogan hi vo devaha. Dasyante yajna bhavitaha. Ishtan bhogan hi vo devaha. Dasyante yajna bhavitaha.
Taihi dattan apradayaha yebhyaha.
Taihi dattan apradayah yebhyah. Taihi dattan apradayah yebhyah.
Yaha bhunkte stena eva saha.
Yah bhukte stena eva saha. Yah bhukte stena eva saha.
Taidattana pradayebhyo yo bhunkte stena eva saha.
Taidattana pradayebhyo yo bhukte stena eva saha. Taidattana pradayebhyo yo bhukte stena eva saha. Taidattana pradayebhyo yo bhukte stena eva saha.
Ishtan bhogani vo devaha. Dasyante yajna bhavitaha. Tairdattana pradayebhyo yo bhunkte stena eva saha.
Ishtan bhogan hi vo devaha. दास्यन्ते यज्ञभाविताः तैर्दत्तानप्रदायैभ्यो यो भुङ्क्ते स्तेन एव सः इष्टान् भोगान् हि वो देवाः दास्यन्ते यज्ञभाविताः तैर्दत्तानप्रदायैभ्यो यो भुङ्क्ते स्तेन एव सः इष्टान् भोगान् हि वो देवाः दास्यन्ते यज्ञभाविताः तैर्दत्तानप्रदायैभ्यो यो भुङ्क्ते स्तेन एव सः
10, 11 and 12.
सह
यज्ञाः प्रजा सृष्ट्वा पुरोवाच प्रजापतिः अनेन प्रसविष्यध्वम् एष वोस्त्विष्टकामधुक् देवान् भावयतानीह देवा भावयन्तु वः परस्परं भावयन्तः श्रेयः परमवाप्स्यता इष्टान् भोगान् हि दिवो देवाः दास्यन्ते यज्ञभाविताः तैर्दत्तानप्रदायैभ्यो यो भुङ्क्ते स्तेन एव सः. Moving on, 13th verse. Yajnashistashinas santo muchyante sarvakilbishaihi bhunjate te tvagam papa ye pachantyatmakaranat. Santaha yajnashishta ashinaha. The virtuous feeding on the yajna remnants. I'll talk about that, what yajna remnants is. This comes fits into the concept of the prasada, why we do naivedya. Sarva kilbishaihi muchyante, are freed of all sins. Ye papaha atma karanat pachanti. On the other hand, those papaha means those sinners, atma karanat pachanti, the sinful cooking food for their self-feeding, for their own benefit. Te tu agam bunjate, they but quote sins. So here Krishna has delineated, he has defined more or less who is a santa, a virtuous person, and who is a sinner, that is a papi. Papaha, that's the plural there. So, one who engages in the spirit of yajna and shares with people or shares with divinities, in this particular case in the traditional sense, such a person he calls a santa, a virtuous person. But one who cooks his food for himself only, he does not share with anybody, such a person he calls as a sinful person, a papi, papaha. So, in order to keep this yajna spirit going, we all need to do this on our part, is that we have to offer whatever we cook to the gods, and what is left after giving them, it is you have to assume here that they feed on it. And how do they feed on it? They don't need a mouth and a hand to feed. They just by looking at it, they get it. That is what the Shastra says. So what is offered to them, the remains after giving them. One who feeds on that, he is a santa. So those who have cultivated this tradition of performing a tradition of performing the likes of Deva Yajna. That is what we are talking here. The Yajna for the Devas, and partaking the leftover of the Yajnas. Such a person Shankara calls as a Yajnashishtasi. Yajnashishtaha is the remaining of the, after giving to the gods in the yajna. Ashi is one who eats it. So a person who partakes what is left over after offering to the gods is called a Yajnashishtasi. So these Yajnashishtashis are relieved of the sins associated with unknown and unintended violence linked to inevitable sources of food processing like stove, etc. We'll see a little later what those sources of violence are in our food production and food processing. So if you share your food with other people, then you are relieved of this sin that we commit in the violence that is involved in the processing of the food. But those who are self-centered and self-consume all their possessions, they will reap the sins of their living. Their living requires us to eat food, and eating food itself is a violent action. And with that, if I don't share, then I will reap those sins. Something, how to understand this? This is not a direct pratyaksha anubhava, direct experience for us. How to understand this? That what Krishna is saying here, how do we relate to this? Is we can see in our business life. Every company, every university or a government organization, whichever organization it is, there are certain procedures, operating procedures being established in every organization. If we, as we engage in the action in serving in that particular organization, if we follow the operating guidelines, and if we still make a mistake, if a mistake happens, that mistake is condoned. Like if a mistake happens in the observation of the operating procedures, then there is no a consequence for that generally, unless it is so bad that you are beyond the skills level required to perform that job. Then there may be a downgrading. But that is, we are talking here humans who are skilled in doing certain things, and the guy Indra, the Brahma is expecting only what we are skilled in. Like that, the corporation expects something that is in line with our skills. And if a mistake happens in observing the guidelines of the organization, while observing the guidelines of the organization, there is no consequence. But those who are self-centered and self-consume all their positions, they will reap the sins of their living means. Like if you violate the rules of the organization, then there is consequence. There may be a warning, and if we continue to do that, then we will be shown to the exit door of the organization. So there is an order that has to be followed, but the order is established to propagate the system indefinitely. And that is the objective here. And in those who don't follow this operating guideline of Yajna Bhava that Brahma has set for us, they will reap the sins of their living. And what that sin, at this point, we cannot connect the two dots. What is this that we are doing and what sin is, we cannot connect those two dots per se, because this is something, this karma is very subtle. Karma phala is very subtle. We will not be able to understand that. That comes in the 4th chapter. We will Gahana Karmano Gatihi, Krishna says in the 4th chapter. We will address that at that point. But At this point, we need to understand that our actions should be to help the continuation of the system, and this system has to be, in order to do the continuation, provide the continuation of this system, we have to act in a certain way. That is the underlying message here. So everyone qualified must undertake to his duties, because these duties are also the source of perpetuation of the wheel of life in this universe. So this cycle has to continue. Our generation has to give way to the next generation in a condition that the earth is hospitable to them. Like our parents gave us this earth that is hospitable to us, and this has been going forever. And that also comes in one of the next verses. We will see that at that time. Okay, some additional details of this. So, in addition, food production, did I miss something? No. Food production, food processing, and food consumption, they are all violent actions, violent occupation. So, offering the celestials and partaking the offer removes the sin associated with the violent nature of food processing, and that is called a blessing from the gods. That removal of the sin, somebody has to, there is a supervisor above us. Just like in example I quoted in our business life, there is a supervisor who monitors what we are doing. Here also, these gods are monitoring our behavior, and if we work in line with this yajna bhava, in the spirit of yajna, then there is a blessing from the gods. Now, there are the 5 yajnas. What are those yajna bhava? Panchamaha yajna, it is called in our scriptures. 5 great sacrifices prescribed for relief from the effects of violence in food consumption. What are those? Deva yajna, Brahma yajna, Pitru yajna, Manushya yajna, and Bhuta yajna. Deva yajna, we understand, is the celestials, the yajna offered to the celestials. Brahma yajna is the rishis, the sages that have imparted this knowledge for us, and they have kept this knowledge going from generation to generation to generation. If Krishna gave the instructions, that means before that, there were, Krishna himself says in the 4th chapter, he has given this knowledge over a period of lineage from the beginning of the creation itself. So like this, these rishis have kept it alive for us through the Vedic system, and therefore we have a debt to pay to the rishis, that is Brahma yajna. Pitru yajna, they have given us this life. This life is here given to us for working out our karma. That is the only reason why we are here. We have certain actions that we did, have certain karma pala, and that karma pala has to be experienced. And our pitrus, our parents and ancestors have provided the way for us to come to this earth. So that is Pitru yajna. And Manushya yajna, we help each other. Every societal activities happen helping out each other, and that is so we have to help the people. And Bhuta yajna, animals also contribute to our growth. In the olden days, the agriculture was largely dependent on animals, and then the animals cow gives us milk. So Bhuta yajna, we are indebted to the animals also. Therefore, the Bhuta yajna is so these 5 yajnas are called Panchamaha yajnas, and everyone has to practice this yajna system in order to relieve ourselves of the sin of living. The living itself is a sin. We'll see here how that is. The violence in food processing and relief from the is stated in the Manusmriti. What are the sources of sin in our living? Kandanam Peshani Chulli Udakumbascha Marjani Panchasuna Grihastasya Panchayagnat Pranashyati So there are 5 sources of violence in food processing. Pounding, to separate the husk from the grain. In today's world, they may be doing it in a machinery, but nevertheless, that pounding, in that process, some animal, some bird, something may come in the way there, and then it gets killed. Milling, when you convert the food, the grain into flour. Cooking, you cook on a stove. There is many ants and other insects could be around. That could get killed. And collecting water in a vessel, that itself, that is another source of violence there. We kill bacteria. And then cleaning the floor. In the olden days, when they harvest the grains, they would use a broom to clean up bring all the harvested grain together and put it into a heap. So the broom is considered a source of violence. So these are all inevitable and helpless killings of insects and organisms by us. We don't intend to. This happens involuntarily. And how do you compensate for that? The Panch Mahayajna that we discussed, the 5 yajnas, that relieves us from these inevitable sins committed in our living. So this has been the Hindu tradition observed over generations and generations to make good for the violence committed in living. So how is that happening? How do we get relief from that? Is to share what we consume through these yajnas. Not only the devas, all the 5 who have been subsistence, or who have provided the subsistence for us for this living. So these yajnas will relieve us of the inevitable sins of living. So this is the what Krishna has been describing here, that like yajnashishtaashna santaha muchyante sarvakilbishaihi. So this rich tradition, this is practiced in the Hindu life, and there is a nurturing of human living in developing the values of sharing with society. And this is the sentiment that Krishna is describing here in the Bhagavad Gita. This yajna tradition dilutes and replaces the desire for worldly objects with the desire for liberation. What happens is there is a sensitivity developed in us. As we practice this yajna system, we become sensitive to other people's or other beings' situation, and those are the characteristics that we need from in order to move up to the liberation, towards liberation. What we have for worldly objects desire today, for the home, for the vehicle, for food, for clothing, etc., 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 they become weaker as we practice this yajna concept, yajna tradition. And then when they become weak, the desire for liberation grows, because we understand more, we have become more sensitive to other beings, and therefore this helps us in transitioning from worldly living to a living with fewer wants and wanting to climb up the ladder of liberation. So all the what the yajna is reminding us is that, hey, you are not alone. There is so many people who are supporting you in your progress. And who are the other gods, sages, parents, human beings, and animals? These are the 5 Panch Mahayajnas that we perform. So all these have been in your life, helping you in one way or the other in whatever progress you are making. So therefore, this yajna offering shall be such that they all receive a part of the offering. And that we make sure by sharing what we eat or what we consume. And that is the yajnashishta that Krishna is talking about here. So obviously we have discussed this. One who deviates from this selfish consumption, he has to pay for it, and he pays for it through lives that are not possibly as comfortable as we are today. Today, what we have, so many human population today is about 7 billion. Probably there is 7 billion times 1,000 other beings. So we are a select few, though it looks like a 7 billion, a large number. If you take all the living beings, and particularly under the sea, there is how many living beings are there? We don't even have a count. We don't even have a knowledge of those things. So probably 1,000 is maybe an understatement. So we have come up in this evolution to the human level, and with the human beings are the one endowed with the intellect, and we got to make the best use of that, and that is being discussed here as the Yajna Bhava. So this Yajna Bhava, this perpetuation of the wheel of life is what is our duty, and that comes in the next verse. We will see that when we get there. All right, let us learn this verse. Yajna Shishta Ashinaha Santaha.
यज्ञशिष्ट अशिनः सन्तः यज्ञशिष्टः अशिनः सन्तः
मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषैः
मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषैः मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषैः
यज्ञशिष्टाशिनः सन्तो मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषैः
यज्ञशिष्टाशिनः सन्तो मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषैः यज्ञशिष्टाशिनः सन्तो मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषैः यज्ञशिष्टाशिनः सन्तो मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषैः
भुञ्जते ते तु अघं पापाः
भुञ्जते ते तु अघं पापाः भुञ्जते ते तु अघं पापाः
ये पचन्ति आत्मकारणात्
ये पचन्ति आत्मकारणात् ये पचन्ति आत्मकारणात्
भुञ्जते ते त्वगं पापा ये पचन्त्यात्मकारणात्
भुञ्जते ते त्वघं पापा ये पचन्त्यात्मकारणात् भुञ्जते ते त्वघं पापा ये पचन्त्यात्मकारणात् भुञ्जते ते त्वघं पापा ये पचन्त्यात्मकारणात्
यज्ञशिष्टाशिनः सन्तो मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषैः भुञ्जते ते त्वघं पापा ये पचन्त्यात्मकारणात्
यज्ञशिष्टाशिनः सन्तो मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषैः भुञ्जते ते त्वघं पापा ये पचन्त्यात्मकारणात् यज्ञशिष्टाशिनः सन्तो मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषैः भुञ्जते ते त्वघं पापा ये पचन्त्यात्मकारणात् यज्ञशिष्टाशिनः सन्तो मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषैः भुञ्जते ते त्वघं पापा ये पचन्त्यात्मकारणात्
देवान् भावयतानीना. I mean 11, 12 and 13. देवान् भावयतानीना ते देवा भावयन्ति हेतुवः परस्परं भावयन्तः श्रेयः परमवाप्स्यत इष्टान् भोगान् हि वो देवाः दास्यन्ते यज्ञभाविताः तैर्दत्तानप्रदायैभ्यो यो भुङ्क्तेस्तेन एव सः यज्ञशिष्टाशिनः सन्तो मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषैः भुञ्जते ते त्वघं पाप ये पचन्त्यात्मकारणात्. Now the cycle of living is being described in this verse. Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyadanna sambhavaha yajnad bhavati parjanyo yajnah karma samudbhavaha. Bhutani annat bhavanti. That is, the beings are created of food. Parjanyat anna sambhavaha. Where is that food coming from? It is coming from the rains. The Parjanya is rain. Parjanyat anna sambhavaha, the foods created of rain. Now the Parjanya yajnat bhavati. The rain is a product of yajna. Because of the yajna reaching the celestials, the yajna offerings reaching the celestials, the rain is a product of yajna. Yajna karma samudbhavaha. How did the yajna come into existence? It's an outcome of prescribed karma. There are certain karmas that come together to make up the yajna, and that is yajna karma samudbhavaha. It's a product of action. Yajna is a product of a prescribed action. Now, the Parjanyaha yajnat bhavati, I want to make a statement here. They say, how is it, we offer some yajna, some offerings in the fire, and how would that generate rain? Now, if we don't have to go too far to understand this. In today's world, we know that science has come up with methods of seeding rain seeding clouds and seeding rain by injecting certain chemicals to the space. We see this particularly in snow slopes. They do this when there is not enough snow. They will create snow. So this concept of yajna is what it is that certain offerings, it's not just you throw some into some material into the fire. It is some very specific defined materials that are offered in the fire, and also it comes later on that it has to be done in a prescribed way. So that generates the kind of chemicals that we are talking of in today's world. So this technique was known to our sages, and that is how this has been in progress. Okay, well, let's try to understand this. So a person qualified for karma should engage in those karma, because that karma is the support for continuous maintenance of the universe. What is the continuous maintenance is described in the entire verse itself as a cycle. Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyadanna sambhava, like that. So the food consumed by by beings in general transforms to blood and semen that we know. That is the source for our, like the semen and the egg comes from the food that we eat. So the creation of the beings is supported by food, means it is through the formation of the semen and the egg, and the union of the semen and the egg is what results in a birth. That is our understanding is clear on that. So just this is to set the stage for the validity of this verse, that what we know today validates what is described in this verse. Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyad anna sambhavaha yajnad bhavati parjanya. So the beings are coming out of food, and the food is coming out of rain, and the rain is coming out of yajna. Okay. Rainfall is therefore the source of food. Now this rainfall is sourced in yajna according to the verse, because the offerings in fire will reach the sun. The sun then sucks up the water from the oceans, and then ultimately forming clouds, and they are responsible for rainfall. Bringing out this rainfall brings out vegetation, producing food. And there is a Manusmriti description here. Agnav prastahutihi samyag adityamupatishtate aditya jayate vrishtihi vrishterannam tata prajaha. So basically, what is being described in the Bhagavad Gita, there is a similar verse in the Manusmriti. So he says, Samyag Adityam Upatishtate. Whatever Anna Agnav Prastahutihi Samyag. It is the appropriate offerings. It is the appropriate offerings in fire, appropriate mantras, appropriate procedure. All those are included in that Samyag word. Therefore, this only when you do in that appropriate forum does it have the energy or the power to reach up to the sun. The sun creates rainfall, and the rain produces food, and the beings are born of food. Now there is a commentary here. Only Satkarma, that is good karma, generated rain will produce the beings. You cannot do any yajna. There are yajnas done to hurt other people also. It is all in our Vedas. So that Satkarma is only one that qualifies for this, not those kinds of yajnas. Excess or insufficient rain are sourced in adharma, causing hardships. If you don't do it in a dharmic way, what happens is either you may get shortage of rain, or you may get a very heavy rain. Either one does not bring crops. For the crops to come, the rain has to come at the right moment. There should be sufficient rain, not more, not less. If there is too much rain, all the crops will be washed away. And if there is less rain, that's not enough for the crops to come through. So this Agnav Prastahutihi Samyak plays a very big role in this creation of the rainfall, appropriate amount. And that all again comes to doing this in a dharmic way. So what is that? The right ingredients and the right procedures of the yajna will reach the Aditya. Only when it reaches the Aditya is there the capacity in him to set right the process of rainfall. Now, here, Anna is a descriptor of all consumable foods. It don't necessarily, in Sanskrit, Anna is generally, we talk about rice. Cooked rice is called Anna, but Anna is a descriptor for all kinds of consumable foods, not necessarily limited to some grains. So, we consume all these varieties of foods, and the beings are born of food. We have went through the process, how that happens. Now, here, Shankaracharya, he makes a very interesting statement here. Yajna karma samudbhavaha. Yajna is a karma, and the activities itself are called karma. Various activities of karma are called again karma, and the yajna together is also, the performance itself is called a karma. So yajna karma samudbhavaha, action comes out of action. That's kind of a meaning that comes, that Shankaracharya he clarifies here. What is that? The yajna also has a meaning of apurva. Apurva is generally understood as adrishta, or invisible fruit of action. Whatever yajna we do today, immediately it does not cause a rain. there is a yajna, doing yajna is one dot, and rain appearing at some other point time is another dot. These two relationship between these two dots we don't know today. That is that invisible apurva. It has a benefit. When and where that benefit is delivered is not up to us to determine, is not up to us to understand also. That is what is called apurva. Apurva is the outcome of yajna. It's an invisible fruit of action, an action that produces a fruit over time. And maybe in a different place. Even that also we cannot guarantee. So there is that karma is called that outcome is called apurva. And again, if you have to generate a certain amount of rainfall, just one yajna offering in one place may not be sufficient. That is why you see in certain yajnas that are conducted in today's world, there are hundreds of yajna kundas. So that means you're parallel processing the amount of energy or the power required to achieve a certain thing. So that apurva includes all these multiple yajnas. That's a product of multiple yajnas. So this apurva is the product of the karma. And the activities performed by the undertaker, the yajmana of the yajna, along with ritviks. There are yajna involves many ritviks who have knowledge of the Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, and Atharvana Veda. All these four are included in this. So these ritviks, they help the yajmana, the undertaker of the yajna, to come together to execute this yajna. So yajna karma samudbhava. Yajna is also a karma. Yajna karma samudbhava means yajna is the outcome of karma, or karma is the outcome of karma. That's what. So there, Shankaracharya says apurva is to be taken as a proxy for yajna. Apurva is the invisible fruit of action. Therefore, this invisible fruit of action is the outcome of karma. That is the connection we have to make here in understanding this verse correctly. Continuing, water is the source of all food production. We know that rain is the most important source of providing the water for irrigation for food production. So what is the source of water? That we discussed already, yajna. Human being is responsible for nurturing and protection of all beings. See, human being is the only one who is endowed with an intellect, and the actions of the human beings go beyond human beings. It goes even to animals, plants, and that's why we have to keep safeguard the environment. And of course, devas is being discussed here also. So human beings, actions of the human beings is the most valuable action in preserving the universe, or preserving the order that has been set up by Brahma. So humans' good activities in support of his responsibilities can be interpreted as an yajna. Now we are coming into more general term. All right, one is the offering in the fire is a yajna in a way, in a traditional sense, but what we can call as a spirit of yajna, we can translate this yajna bhava of the anna bhavanti bhutani parjanyad anna sambhava. Everybody plays a role. Like that, we can play a role in the life of everybody. Everybody can play a role in the life of everybody. That way you can say. So that that interpretation is also in tradition to discuss like that. So this yajna includes all fire offerings, dana, tapas, and secular duties. Dana and tapas we discussed last class. So all the activities that we do in the workplace, in societal place, these are all come together to help each other, and therefore they are all part of the yajna. And like as I said, in a company, everybody put together, makes up a product or a service. The one person cannot do that. They all have to come together in the spirit of yajna to bring out the product. And apart from this traditional definition, on this larger scale, all activities of human life in the entire society can be delivered in the spirit of yajna. And when we do that, that increases our awareness of the interdependence of one another. For example, whatever work I do in my business life, there is somebody who provides an input for me. And if that person fails to deliver what he has to deliver to me, I cannot deliver, I cannot put together or work on something that I have to deliver to the other end of the chain, what we call the supply chain. So in the supply chain, everybody has to perform their duties. And that is why we say the weakest link determines the chain. So if there is a one person who fails to do his or her job, then the entire project suffers. Therefore, everybody on can work and should work in the spirit of yajna to fulfill the objective. That is well known to us in our daily life, and that we can translate to also in the traditional sense of the yajna, in the preservation of the universe itself. I think that's about it. Okay. So let's learn this. Annad bhavanti bhutani. Annad
भवन्ति भूतानि अन्नात् भवन्ति भूतानि
Parjanyat anna sambhava.
पर्जन्यात् अन्नसम्भवः पर्जन्यात् अन्नसम्भवः
Annad bhavanti bhutani. Parjanyad anna sambhava.
अन्नात् भवन्ति भूतानि पर्जन्यादन्नसम्भवः अन्नात् भवन्ति भूतानि पर्जन्यादन्नसम्भवः अन्नात् भवन्ति भूतानि पर्जन्यादन्नसम्भवः
Yajnat bhavati parjanyaha.
यज्ञात् भवति पर्जन्यः यज्ञात् भवति पर्जन्यः
Yajnaha karma samudbhavaha.
यज्ञः कर्म समुद्भवः यज्ञः कर्म समुद्भवः
Yajnat bhavati parjanyo. Yajnaha karma samudbhavaha.
यज्ञात् भवति पर्जन्यो यज्ञः कर्म समुद्भवम्
Samudbhavaha. Okay.
यज्ञात् भवति पर्जन्यो यज्ञः कर्म समुद्भवः यज्ञात् भवति पर्जन्यो यज्ञः कर्म समुद्भवः
Annad bhavanti bhutani. Parjanyadanna sambhavaha. Yajnat bhavati parjanyo. Yajna karma samudbhavaha.
अन्नात् भवन्ति भूतानि पर्जन्यादन्नसम्भवः यज्ञात् भवति पर्जन्यो यज्ञः कर्म समुद्भवः अन्नात् भवन्ति भूतानि पर्जन्यादन्नसम्भवः यज्ञाद् भवति पर्जन्यो यज्ञः कर्म समुद्भवः अन्नाद् भवन्ति भूतानि पर्जन्यादन्नसम्भवः यज्ञाद् भवति पर्जन्यो यज्ञः कर्म समुद्भवः
12, 13 and 14. Ishtan bhogan hi wo devaha dasyante yajna bhavitaha Praidattana pradayebhyo yo bhunte stena eva saha yajna shishtashinas santo muchyante sarvakilbishaihi Munjate te tvagam papa ye pachantyatmakaranat annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyadanna sambhavaha yajnad bhavati parjanyo yajna karma samudbhavaha. So a platform, a system has been put in place, and the human being is the most important part of this system, because the human being is the one who has been who is endowed with an intellect, and the human being himself is responsible for the system to maintain itself or to deteriorate. That is coming in the next verse in a way. So it says here, Karma Brahmodbhavam Vidhi Brahmakshara Samudbhavam Tasmat Sarvagatam Brahma Nityam Yajne Pratishtitam. For some reason, I don't see the English version. I did, it was in the other computer, but somehow it has not translated to this. Maybe it is in an older version, I don't know. I will verify on that. Sorry about that, not being there for these two verses. So, Karma Brahma Udbhavam Vidhi. So, in the previous verse, it was said, Yajna Karma Samudbhavaha. Yajna is collection of karma. Now, where is karma coming from, and why all that is being discussed in this verse? Karma Brahma Udbhavam Vidhi. Know that karmas are prescribed in the Vedas. Now, here Brahma, the word Brahma is understood as Vedas. It's an interpretation. We will get to more detailed description of that. So, the karma is prescribed in the Vedas. Brahma Akshara Samudbhavam. Where is the Vedas coming from? The Vedas are coming from the Paramatma, the Akshara. That Akshara is one imperishable. So Brahma, that is the Vedas, is coming from the imperishable Paramatma. The Vedas are the revelations of the imperishable Paramatma. Tasmat Sarvagatam Brahma. Therefore, this all-pervading Brahman, who is in the who is the giver of the Vedas, Nityam Yajna Pratishtitam. He is eternally present in the Yajna, because how? He is giving the Vedas. The Vedas are being used in the karma, and the karma becomes collection of karma becomes Yajna, and therefore this Paramatma is Yajna Pratishtitam. He is ever present, eternally present, ever present, always present in this yajna. The Paramatma is present in the yajna. He is the one who is making the yajna possible. I am only an actor, but really the happening is, or the fulfillment of the yajna is happening because of his support. That is what is coming out of this verse. So this karma is born of Vedas, and in here, in this context, Brahma is to be understood as Vedas, meaning Vedas describe the karmas. the verse says karma brahmodbhavam with the karma is coming from Brahma. And when we say that Brahma is to be interpreted here as Vedas, therefore Vedas describe the karmas. It's a manual. If you understand the Vedas as a manual, and this manual describes the actions, the karma that is to be done to perpetuate this universe. Therefore, karma brahmodbhava means karma born of Vedas. So such and such karma gives rise to such and such outcome is to be known only through the Vedas. We don't have any other means of telling it. As I said, this is we cannot connect the dots, the action and the fruits of action. We cannot connect. Therefore, the Vedas are the one that says that this dot will lead to that dot. And that is the faith hypothesis. We have to understand that it is correct. That hypothesis we have to take it for in our Shraddha, faith, and then execute the karma. And what's the proof that it is happening? All the years until today, this universe has been supported, perpetually going on. And we have to understand, take that as the data point to understand that this karma gives rise to this karma phala. Now, of course, like those who are who believe in science and science does everything, it's hard to convince them. But science, after all, deals only with inanimate. Science does not deal with animate. The very definition of science is sense perceptible is the proof for science. Sense perception, when it is not there, there are things beyond sense perception. Even the mind itself is beyond sense perception. I can only understand my mind. You can understand your mind. I cannot understand your mind. If I go to a hearing test or a vision test, the doctor asks me, is this better or is this better? The only way he understands what I am listening or what I am seeing is by comparing two, and he takes my opinion for that. Therefore, science utterly fails when it is beyond the sense organs, and all these dharma, papa, punya, they are all beyond our sense perception. Therefore, such and such karma gives rise to such and such fruit is to be only known through the Vedas. And the Vedas is nothing but, we have already said, it has come from Parameshwara. We'll see more of that. Therefore, you have to take it in faith and execute accordingly. And the proof for us is the past. The past has happened like this. It cannot happen without a sentient or a consciousness available. And that consciousness is beyond the scientific realm, domain, and therefore we will have to accept it with faith. So, that Brahma described as Vedas is Akshara Samudbhava. So, here Akshara means again Brahma. Brahma comes from Brahma means the Vedas come from Brahma, the Akshara Paramatma. We will see how that comes. Akshara means that's the imperishable Brahma, Paramatma, is the source of that Brahma, which is called Veda. So that Brahma, the Brahma of the form of Vedas, is born of Akshara. That is it's a jumbling of words. We'll iron it out as we go further. So Akshara Brahma produces Veda Brahma. You can understand that way. So Akshara called Paramatma brings out the Veda called Brahma. Like how does he put a lot of effort in bringing out this Veda? The commentators, no, it's not like that. It's like human beings breathing. It happens involuntarily. It does not need any effort. Vedavyasa needed so much effort to put together the Brahma Sutras, the Mahabharata, Bhagavata, etc., etc., etc. But Paramatma does not need to do all those efforts. It happens effortlessly in him, like the human's breathing happens effortlessly. Vedas are revealed to the respective people who meditate for that automatically by the Paramatma without any effort on his part. This Veda, which enlightens or describes everything, it describes everything. The Vedas contain everything on earth. That's what is said today. We don't have those many sections of Vedas. We have lost it because there is no qualified student to learn it, and therefore it has gone away with the teachers who left this world. So but the Veda describes everything, Sarvagata. That is, Sarvagata means pervading everywhere. That it means it pervades all aspects of our life. So the Sarvagataha Brahma has importance in only describing and prescribing yajnas. So ultimately, all these Vedas describe the importance of Vedas, yajnas in our life. Everything is denominated to a yajna. That is how it is being described. So in summarizing here, Akshara Brahma, from the Akshara Brahma comes the Veda Brahma, and from the Veda Brahma comes Karma, and the Karma is existent in Yajna. It says here, Nityam Yajna Pratishtitam Brahma Akshara Samudbhavam. So the Sarvagatam Brahma, Nityam Yajna Pratishtitam. Therefore, this Akshara Brahma, through all these machinations, if you will, is existent in the Yajna. That is the Nityam Yajna Pratishtitam. That's what it describes. So he pervades every aspect of life, this Akshara Brahma. He pervades every aspect of life in the human and animal world. So the nature of yajna, the applications in yajna, and the outcome or the fruits of yajna are described as mantras in the Vedas. Now, Veda is revelations in the form of mantras, statements, revelations by the Lord himself. The word mantra is dedicated to those revelations. The other things we call shlokas or Shruti, generally we call shlokas for human created revelations, and they are called mantras. So there would be no karma without Veda, because Veda describes everything, how we should do, what we should do, why we should do, everything in mantra form. And therefore, the nature of yajna, applications in the yajna, all these things are described in the Veda. That is what is referred to here as Brahma Akshara Samudbhavam. He has put together this Veda in this way as revelations to the sages who sit in meditation to understand this. So the human beings have to recognize these Vedas as the giving us instructions in our prescribed duties. What are our duties? We have to learn only through the Vedas, and which is given to us by Brahma. Therefore, Veda is a proxy for Brahma. That Veda and proxy are interchangeably used in this particular verse. So, and to strengthen that statement, Veda and Brahma are proxy for each other. Brahma Akshara Samudbhavam. Veda is a product of indestructible Paramatma or imperishable Paramatma. So this Paramatma pervades our entire activities, both the physical world, the active world, and everything he pervades. And that strengthening is provided by this statement, Brahma Akshara Samudbhavam. He is there everywhere. Because Akshara, this Brahma is Vedas, Akshara is the Paramatma, and the Vedas tell us what we should do, why we should do, how we should do, and therefore all our activities are covered are, in the presence of the Akshara Brahma in our activities. Some more description of this to describe this Sarvagata. Parabrahma being eternal, he is there, he has no beginning, he has no end, he is continuous, he is there all the time. Veda as his breath is also eternal. Now this, we said the Akshara, the Veda comes from the Akshara Brahma. So this Akshara Brahma being eternal, Veda is also eternal. His breath, it is called. So that is also eternal. Now, in our life, we saw Veda has a beginning. It came into existence when the universe came into existence. No, the answer goes like this. So, Veda had if it is enunciated by Paramatma, does it mean that Veda had a beginning? No, the Veda is manifested by Paramatma in the beginning of creation and merges back into him during dissolution to be manifested again in the next generation. So this is described in the Dashavatara, Matsyavatara, everything is being sucked up by this Matsya, and then it is released back in the creation. So like that, so the Vedas, they merge in Paramatma at the end of this cycle, and then this Paramatma in the next cycle, he gives it back to Brahma, the creator Brahma. When the creator Brahma then disseminates thus to that to the 7 rishis, Maharshaya Saptapurve Chatvaro Manavastata. It comes in the 10th chapter. The first creation, once the creation happens, Brahma, creator Brahma, gives this knowledge of the Vedas to the Saptarishis and 4 Manus. Now, who are these Saptarishis and 4 Manus? These are positions, the most highly evolved people of the previous cycle are eligible to be promoted to the Saptarshis and 4 Manus. So, because they are most highly evolved, they can very easily grasp just by the sight of Brahma himself in a way. So it comes to them very easily. They grasp it, and then they perpetuate it or disseminate it to the followers, etc. So this Veda has been a continuous. It is in existence all the time. Only appears to us that it started during creation. That's our limitation. So one more thing, what is meant by yajna is produced by karma. See, all human activities classified as yajna are manifested through our mind, speech, and sense organs. This is all our actions happen through this media, mind, speech, and sense organs. So yajna is accomplished through the activities prescribed in the Shastra, that is the Veda. So I use my mind, I use my speech, I use my sense organs to capture this Veda that is being used in the yajna, and therefore yajna is produced by karma, and karma is a product of putting our mind, speech, and sense organs together. This is the intent of stating yajna is produced by karma. See, in the yajna, the Rigveda is used in inviting the deity to be worshipped. Then the Yajurveda describes what mantras is to be said in offering the havis, what is being offered to the fire. And then the Samaveda is being continuously sung. It is mostly Rigveda, sung in a particular format is called Samaveda. It is musical. So, and then Atharvana Veda is used in creating the Yajna Kunda, all the details of the geometry and this, like engineering of the Yajna Kunda and all the activities. So all the 4 yajnas are used, though the activities of yajna are pronounced only through the Vedas. So Vedas become the quintessential support for the yajna, and that Veda is the breath of Parameshwara. That Parameshwara being his breath is present in all Veda mantras. That is what is called as Sarvagata. So he is present as a Yajnamurti. He, like when you go to temple where we worship the deity, there we call it Murti. The presence of the Lord is in that Murti because Prana Pratisthapana has been done, and therefore the presence of the deity is in that Murti. Like that, in the Yajna, the Parameshwara is sitting there as a Murti. That is the meaning of this word Sarvagata here describes. Okay. So, let's see if we have time. Oh, we have already passed time. Yes. Sorry about that. I took more time. All right. Let's learn this in the next class. This verse. Let's see if there are any questions. We can take. Sorry, I didn't see the time. I went overboard today. Any questions? Oh, Swamiji, we have a very special, distinct person here today. Swami Brahmarupanandaji. He has been my teacher, guru, for the last 35 years. Whatever I have said today, whatever I am saying in the past and all this time, I have learned it from him. I was talking to him earlier this week, and he said he wants to come to the class. And I said, Swamiji, that is, I feel, I don't know how to say. He said, no, I want to come and I want to learn from you also, he said. That is the humility of Swamiji. Swamiji, you want to say something? ಹೇಳಿ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಅನ್ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ
They are waiting for me. I have to leave at 12:30.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry, Swamiji, I kept you longer.
Yes. Namaskar.
Namaskar, Swamiji.
Namaskaram, Swamiji.
Namaskara. Namaskara, sir.
Namaskaram, Swamiji.
Namaskara,
Namaskara.
Swamiji.
Namaskara.
Namaskara. Namaskara.
Swamiji.
Very fortunate for your darshan, Swamiji.
That he joined, he came to the class, he said he, like I was talking to him and he said, I felt kind of very embarrassed to say when he said I will come to the class. Anyway, that's his greatness. Any other questions, anything? All right, we will do the closing prayer. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam
Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamaadaya
Vishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti